this is gaining some serious steam, as right now, the New York Jets have a very important decision to make that will impact Aaron Glenn's future on a massive note. And there is an obvious answer to this situation, and right now, we have seen multiple updates that make Jets fans very, very excited for when we understand and look at the fact that right now, it feels like the Jets might come away with an absolute steal in this coaching cycle. Right now, as we've seen, a bunch of coaches have already signed on to their teams. I mean, just in the past couple of days, we've seen a bunch of moves and a bunch of news about the next couple of coaches on these teams with vacancies, and also teams signing coordinators. Now, the Jets are one of those teams that need one because they fired Steve Wilks after not doing a good job at all, and they interviewed 8 guys for that position. Now, Chris Harris was their interim guy. I did want to briefly mention him before we get into the 2 guys who are talked about the most, which are Wink Martindale and, of course, Jim Leonard. And now we have huge updates on both these guys and where it stands with the Jets, specifically this man right here. But before we get into all the news today, we're proud to announce this video is brought to you by Kalshi. And if you download it using the link below and put in the code DIGESTNFL, you will get $20 when you trade your first 100. Now, Kalshi, it's the largest prediction market in the United States. And on their platform, you can trade yes, no on real life events, whether that's the news, sports, the weather, elections, and pretty much everything. And whether you're in New York, California, Texas, or anywhere across the country, Kalshi is live in all 50 states. Now, this is great for sports fans as you can trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, or player performances on a regulated market where you can cash out at any time. Now, this is excellent for sports fans, especially because the NFL playoffs are officially here and there is a lot of movement going on right now. And if you trade on Seattle, who has 20% of trades on them to win the Super Bowl with former Jets quarterback Sam Darnold, you will get $45 in return. Now, this is an excellent trade and one that I'm super interested in because the Seahawks look absolutely excellent right now. They have got a great defense and Sam Darnold has been doing a phenomenal job. And guys, if you want to get in on the action and get that $20 when you trade your first 100, put in code DIGESTNFL. Thank you to Kalshi, but guys, let's get into the video. We have a lot to go over. Now look, basically when we understand that the Jets, they're in a very interesting position right now because they just had one of the worst defenses in the history of the sport. They didn't get an interception the entire season. The last time that happened, the leader in passing yards had under 1,000 because it was in the stone ages of football. There's no way around that, and that'll never happen again. It's like if you saw an MLB team go an entire season without hitting a double. It's just something you're not going to see. So, when we understand the Jets are absolutely terrible, and the fact that the team just overall sucked in a general sense, and there's not a ton of trust in Aaron Glenn right now from the fan base, Glenn understands he has to get this one right. Him and Mougey, if they don't get it right, if the team doesn't start to turn around, then yeah, they're probably both going to get canned, specifically Glenn. They don't want that to happen, so they're going to try to win as much as possible next year. The Jets also need to make the right hirings to show that Aaron Glenn is a capable head coach. And again, if he doesn't, well then, he's going to get canned. There's no way around that. And there has been a lot of talk surrounding which DC it is going to be right now. Now, Connor Hughes did mention that Wink Martindale is flying to New York as of yesterday, where he will have an in-person interview with the Jets for their vacant defensive coordinator job. Now, on top of that, we also know from Hughes that Martindale let his interest in the Jets vacancy be known back in December. Feeling reciprocated, sources around the NFL in search of open coaching vacancies believed this was a matter of when. Jets obviously are conducting their thorough search. The Jets get Martindale in their building with the Snowmageddon obviously pending, and we'll see if they let him out. And because this was yesterday that all this went down, including the Snowmageddon, and I don't like snow, so this was very annoying to me, well, ultimately, they did let him leave, as Martindale has not been hired yet for the job. It does feel like Martindale's the favorite for this job, and we do have to take a little bit of a dive into that. I mean, look, he's been the defensive coordinator for a few different teams over his career, doing 4 years in Baltimore from 2018 to 2021. Having a successful run there by all sense of the word. Meanwhile, he did do it for a year in Denver back in 2010 and spent 2022 and 2023 as the Giants defensive coordinator, where the Giants, I mean, in 2022, they were a good team, so there was that. But when it comes down to it, there is just a whole... I do want to make it clear that the Giants won 4 games in 2022, so... obviously they were not good. Look, I get Martindale was good in Baltimore. I do. I'm not the biggest fan of him. I think a lot of us kind of feel that way, that it's like, really? But there was a lot of rumors going around as well, which we saw with Martindale's time with the Giants. I mean, just seeing that there was a lot about Wink right here, with Dable wanting to keep Wink, but just fired a few different people as well, like their outside linebacker coach. And Wink was really getting ready to just resign from the job. There was a whole lot of issues going on within that Giants team. And frankly, I get Martindale's had success. I get it. He was good in Baltimore. He wasn't good with the Giants. The Jets are not the Baltimore Ravens. They're a lot closer to the 2023 Giants, considering the Giants won 4 games, and that's more than the Jets won this year. So, we have to understand that. We have to be aware of this instance. And it's very important to understand that when we look at this Jets team, is Wink Martindale going to help them? I don't really think so. I'm not the biggest fan of Martindale at all. It's not like he goes everywhere and just succeeds, and obviously if he was, he wouldn't be a free agent defensive coordinator. But there is a lot to think about. Now, we did see Underwood Leash mention that I know Wink Martindale isn't everyone's favorite, but I have a lot of respect for him, and I always will. Obviously, he spent some time with Michigan, where there's been a lot of turmoil recently, with Sherrone Moore, who wouldn't even speak to him near the end, and Wink still stuck it out. He worked under a terrible coach and battled through a toxic situation, and Wink gave Michigan his all, which, yeah, I mean, look, you gotta respect it. Obviously, the stuff going on with Sherrone there was absolutely insane. I don't think any of us would have saw any of that coming, but it's clear that if that was all going on behind the scenes, Martindale was at least somewhat aware of all this turmoil, and he did stick it out. He never made it seem to the public like there was anything wrong. They kept it locked up. And yeah, that is something to respect, but the fact that he can handle dysfunction is not something that I'm like super excited for, because all right, good, he can handle the dysfunction of the Jets. I don't want there to be dysfunction with the Jets. That's the issue that I have with this. Now, on top of this, we did know the Packers and Jim Leonard did have mutual interest in that defensive coordinator job, but they didn't hire Leonard, and that's what makes things a lot more interesting. Now, there's a bunch of teams that do want him as the defensive coordinator. The Packers were interested, didn't go with him. And also, when it was mentioned that the Packers should hire him, Braylon Allen, Jets running back, did respond to a comment saying, looks like a Jet to me. So it's clear what the players want, at least it's clear what this player wants in Braylon Allen, that he does want Jim Leonard to be this team's defensive coordinator. And I would love for Leonard to get that job. I mean, look, his defenses with Wisconsin was excellent. Had the 3rd best defense in 2017, was 34th in 2018, which, by the way, is not bad. Remember, it's college football, just keep that in mind, was 10th in 2019, 9th in 2020, 4th in 2021, and 17th in 2022. This is a man whose defenses have been locked down. That is super, super important for a Jets team that was the opposite. Now, as we know from Rappaport, Green Bay lost its defensive coordinator to Miami when the Dolphins hired Jeff Hafley as their next head coach. The Packers have conducted a few interviews already, including former Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon and Bears assistant Al Harris. There's also is mutual interest between the Packers and Wisconsin native and ex-Badgers star Jim Leonard, who is currently Denver's defensive pass game coordinator / assistant head coach. While nothing is set, the hope is that both sides can get together for a discussion after Sunday's AFC title game. With Leonard's ties to the state, this one makes sense. Leonard is considered to be one of the top defensive coordinator candidates. And that's true. Leonard has been viewed as one of the top defensive coordinator candidates, but it's not the Packers' defensive coordinator because the Packers did decide to go with Jonathan Gannon, former head coach of the Cardinals instead, which leaves another opening for the Jets to go out there and get Leonard. This would be an excellent move. Not only was Leonard, or is Leonard still the assistant coach of the Broncos, remember, Darren Mougey was there. He knows Leonard. There's already connections there. Leonard and Aaron Glenn have ran into each other in the past as well. This is the move you make. He's already got connections to the team. He got passed up by the Packers already. The Jets have a chance to swoop in. Woody Johnson's got money. Go and pay Jim Leonard to be your defensive coordinator. We've seen him work well. We've seen him be a great coach. So this is the move. If Leonard is available and the Jets has interest in this Jets job, and the Jets have interest in him, and there's mutual interest there, and the Jets go with Martindale anyway, then I am seriously concerned about the competence level of Aaron Glenn and Darren Mougey and the guys running this team right now. Do I think the Jets are going to land Martindale or Leonard? Yeah, I do think it'll be one of them. And I also think a lot of it's going to depend on what exactly happens with Jim Leonard. Obviously, now he's no longer coaching in the playoffs as the Broncos got eliminated by the Patriots. So, now that we understand that, we do start to look at the fact that the Jets can talk to Leonard more now, and I imagine that's one of the reasons why they didn't hire Martindale is because they do have interest in talking to Jim Leonard some more, and they do really want to figure out what the deal is with Leonard before ultimately they do make their final decision. Guys, do you want to see Leonard be their defensive coordinator? I know I do. How do you feel about it? Is there anyone you want to see in particular get an interview who hasn't, or who do you just want to see them bring in? Because they got to do something about this defense. If it's Martindale, I'll have faith in him. It'll be cautious faith just because I choose to be an optimist, but I want it to be Jim Leonard. That's the guy. Jets ties, Aaron Glenn ties, Darren Mougey ties. Go get this move done, guys. Let me know what you think. Comment down below, like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. Go Jets.